My own schedule of cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year. Testimony that I hope 50% of us who will be diagnosed with the illness at some point in our lives.
The royal family is known for handling crises behind closed doors, especially when the stakes are this high. But following an urgent emergency meeting, one senior royal stepped forward with news that no one was prepared to hear. What tragic development forced the family into hours of tense discussions? And why was Princess Anne chosen to deliver the message? Join us as we uncover what happened behind palace walls and what this devastating revelation means for the monarchy moving forward. Becoming a king. On the day the emergency meeting was held, the royal members didn't arrive together. However, that was intentional. The decision to convene had been made quietly, without the usual cascade of coordination that accompanied senior royal gatherings. Windsor, accustomed to ceremony, received them instead with silence. Princess Anne arrived first and entered through a side corridor rarely used for formal engagements, her pace steady, her demeanor unchanged by the gravity that had prompted the summons. King Charles followed shortly after, his arrival stripped of display. No procession, no announcement. He moved through the castle with the familiarity of someone who knew every turn, yet carried the weight of a night spent reckoning rather than resting. Prince William's arrival completed the gathering. He came alone, and his presence signaled that this was no longer a discussion confined to the present. Observers noted the absence of the usual preparatory ritual. This was not an engagement to be managed, but a moment to be confronted. When the doors finally closed, there was no formal acknowledgement that the meeting had begun. It simply did. The room, emptied of distractions, held only those who needed to be there. They had come because something had reached its endpoint, and decisions could no longer be deferred. King Charles became the monarch upon the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, in 2022. She ruled for several decades, with great care for her people, and for this, the people loved her and had high expectations for her son. Therefore, Charles's rulership hadn't been easy. The pressure of pleasing the people who loved his mother's way, whilst also pleasing those who prefer a more modern reign, was too much for him. However, he was trying his best until the announcement that no one was waiting for. In February 2024, the royal family made a rare announcement. The king had been diagnosed with cancer. They didn't share what type, but it wasn't prostate cancer, as some had guessed. What mattered most was that it was serious enough to begin immediate treatment. At first, people assumed it was mild. After all, Charles still showed up for events. But as the weeks passed, those closest to him noticed the signs. His days grew shorter, and his public appearances fewer. Imagine waiting for over 70 years to become king, only to be slowed down by a disease that doesn't care about your post or power. All sorts of treatments have been carried out. Sometimes he feels optimistic. On other days, he is exhausted. Cancer treatments like this are known for draining the patients, and patients who don't have age on their side usually suffer more. Charles has been battling not just the cancer, but he has been fighting for as long as he could. The truth is that time is moving faster now, and the king, while still alive, was quietly preparing for what came next.
I shall endeavor to serve you with loyalty, respect, and love.
Charles knew that there was only so much that treatments could do. There was something he had to do that was very important, and he needed enough time for it. But what could be so important that Charles wasn't going to wait until the end to handle it? What secret plan did he hold close? One that would shape the future of the monarchy and his sons. Charles' real wish for the future. From the outside, everything seemed simple. Everyone knew Prince William would take over someday, and for years he had been trained and groomed for his turn to ascend the throne. It was supposed to be simple. After all, it is his birthright. But to King Charles, it wasn't that simple at all. Becoming king hadn't been easy for him, and he didn't want William to go through the same lonely road. Charles had lived most of his life waiting for the crown. While the world saw a prince, he often felt like a shadow. Someone is always next in line, but never quite enough. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, became monarch when she was just 25. She was young and unprepared when she was thrown into a life of duty. So, Charles grew up watching his mother be the queen, not his mom, but Elizabeth probably felt that way too, with her own father. King George VI had never expected to be king either. He took the throne only after his brother gave it up to marry a divorced woman, something the monarchy couldn't accept at the time. He wasn't prepared for the responsibilities of the crown, and the balance was never found until his daughter took over. The queen had to try harder to put things in order. Charles rarely saw his mother. She loved him, yes, but the crown came first, and deep down, he never forgot how that felt. Now, as a father and a king, Charles wants something different. He doesn't just want to hand William a title, he wants to hand him the preparation. This is why Charles started stepping back more quickly than expected. He knows the job isn't just about waving from balconies. It's about making decisions that last for generations. And those decisions need time. So the king's wish wasn't only about handing over duties, it was about giving William space to learn, time to adjust, and the freedom to remain a father and husband while bearing the weight of the crown. Charles didn't want William to feel like he had to trade his family for the throne. That's the mistake he believes was made in his own childhood. People around the palace say Charles has been clear. Let him be ready before the world expects him to be. That's the effect Charles wants to leave. And maybe, through this, he also hopes to fix the past, the one where duty pulled everyone apart. But with the crown slowly moving toward William, what does that mean for him? What this meant for William. For most of his life, Prince William lived with the knowledge that he would one day become king. As the heir apparent, he was constantly trained for a takeover, but he never thought that future would arrive so soon. Following King Charles' cancer diagnosis, Buckingham Palace began to adjust schedules behind the scenes. Several of the king's regular duties and responsibilities were passed to William without public announcement. By April, William was regularly attending weekly meetings that had previously been reserved for the monarch. He began reviewing legislation updates, defense briefings, and security reports. At the same time, public events increased. William took on more military-related roles, including representing the crown at remembrance services, meeting with defense leaders, and overseeing royal patronages linked to national service. His calendar was full of diplomatic receptions, charity engagements, and high-level planning sessions. One of the significant internal changes was his growing role in the Privy Council. Though he had attended in the past, he now began taking part in discussions about succession planning, continuity of government, and long-term national matters. These were no longer training experiences but active governance. William became a shadow king, performing all kingly duties in name only. Media coverage focused on William's calm presence. Analysts noted his steady tone, careful words, and sharp increase in visibility. But what they didn't see was the growing volume of sensitive decisions. In private meetings, William was briefed on contingency procedures. What would happen if his father could no longer serve in full capacity? Or worse, passed unexpectedly. They were no longer hypotheticals. Legal teams began walking him through scenarios under the Regency Acts, which would place full duties on the Prince of Wales should the king become unable to rule. Every possible outcome was examined. Kate, the Princess of Wales, also took on a lot of the weight of the duties. Even while undergoing medical treatment herself, she remained involved in key areas of royal work, including early childhood advocacy and national health awareness campaigns. Staff members were quietly reassigned to support the couple more directly. Within royal operations, it became clear William and Kate were now functioning as the royal core. In private meetings, William was briefed on contingency procedures. What would happen if his father could no longer serve in full capacity, or worse, passed unexpectedly? These weren't hypotheticals anymore. Legal teams began walking him through scenarios under the Regency Acts, which would place full duties on the Prince of Wales should the king become unable to rule. Every possible outcome was examined. At home, his schedule tightened. School drop-offs and family outings became rare. Royal aides restructured his time to ensure daily briefings and flexibility for emergency duties. Even his leisure activities were reduced. His life was shifting from personal freedom to constant readiness. One of the clearest signs came in the form of security changes. His protective team was expanded. Locations where he traveled were locked down faster and for longer periods. All his communication devices were upgraded with tighter encryption. These steps, according to internal sources, usually follow someone becoming monarch. But for William, they were activated early as if to say that the transition had begun. But apart from William, who else was feeling the brunt of this change in power? The princess's job title. During the 2025 Trooping the Colour annual ceremony, Princess Anne unexpectedly appointed Catherine as the Marshal of the Monarch's Honour. The Marshal of the Monarch's Honour is a role built on both tradition and change. It places on Catherine, Princess of Wales, the duty of representing the monarch at ceremonial salutes to military regiments. Although as Colonel of the Irish Guards, Catherine already attends reviews, presents shamrocks on St. Patrick's Day, and stands at the front of royal military occasions. However, this new title elevates her. It places her as a stand-in for the king himself, a symbol of the crown's living presence, during key moments of royal ceremony. Sources close to the palace say the idea for the role came from Princess Anne.
She defended the role of the monarchy and pushed back against claims or suggestions that the monarchy needs to be slimmed down.
Known for her sharp judgment and long memory, Anne does not take such matters lightly. Her experience in the military world and her knowledge of Catherine's steady growth as a public figure led her to suggest the title. With King Charles's approval, the plan was kept private until the announcement. It was a quiet collaboration between two of the most respected members of the royal family. The title itself blends honor and strategy. In the past, duties like leading salutes or reviewing troops were carried out by the reigning monarch, but with King Charles managing his health and stepping back from horseback appearances, the monarchy must now share those duties with the next generation. Appointing Catherine to this post is not only a show of confidence in her, but it is also a step toward easing that transition. She becomes, in a sense, the royal family's public salute, the face of continuity when the king cannot attend. The symbolism runs even deeper. The word marshal evokes strength and order. It has military roots, often tied to leadership and command. To give Catherine such a title is to place her not only in royal circles, but in the world of ceremony and tradition, where gestures speak louder than words. Her salute, her presence, her quiet poise, all now carry official meaning. Not only does she support the crown, but she is also a reflection of its cause. There is personal meaning here too. Catherine's return to public life after her cancer diagnosis earlier in the year has been marked by strength.
The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
Her choice of dress at the parade, a pale cream coat by Amelia Wickstead, was soft but commanding. Her brooch for the Irish Guards, pinned with care, was a nod to her past work with the regiment, and her presence beside the king as the announcement was made signaled unity, not ambition. Even on the balcony, her seat was placed right in the center, though not to seek attention, but to re-emphasize her importance to the monarchy. Princess Anne's decision to name her was as personal as it was strategic. The two women share more than titles. Both have deep ties to the military, a love of horses, and a sense of duty that does not need applause. Anne has served the monarchy for over 50 years. In Catherine, she sees someone ready to carry that spirit forward. For King Charles, the appointment also shows his long view. He has spoken openly in the past about his desire for a slimmed-down monarchy, one built on service and not just spectacle. By giving Catherine this post, he's showing the country and the Commonwealth what the future is. A royal family built on loyalty, clarity, and quiet strength. The Prince of Wales, William, could only beam with a smile. His wife was making him proud, but while William faced the weight of what came next, his father's final wish was not a political one. It was a painfully personal request that leaves you wondering what a dying king longs for when he knows he might never see another spring. The final dying wish. King Charles was fighting a stubborn disease, and it was clear his health was getting worse. The man who had carried the weight of the British crown for decades now faced a more personal battle, one that made him think about family in a new way. Despite all the politics and palace drama, Charles held a quiet but powerful wish to have one honest private conversation with his younger son, Prince Harry. The rift between Charles and Harry was well known. Growing up, Harry had a lot of questions to ask concerning his mother's demise. She had passed away so suddenly that his little mind could not understand. Yet, every question he had was shunned. He wasn't just treated like a spare, he was ignored. This prompted him to begin looking for a home in several places, like the army. Still, nowhere compared to the days of his mother's arm. Then, he met Meghan Markle. Meghan was an American actress who had been divorced. She is mixed race, African American, and white, and 3 years older than Harry. All this information about her made the royal family pause in shock when Harry introduced her to them. At that time, Queen Elizabeth was the monarch, and her word was the law. After she met Meghan, her personality was enough to ignore the other issues. She blessed their union, and just like that, Meghan made a historic entry into the royal family. However, the transition is not easy for her. She wasn't a royal and didn't understand simple things like courtesy. This ignorance earned her clapbacks from the public media and even members of her family. Eventually, the couple decided to step away from royal duties. It was a break from tradition for a prince to move out of the kingdom. Tensions arose and Charles was disappointed. Over time, Harry began to speak openly in interviews about his struggles with the royal home. He accused them of so many things as though he was burning the bridges of ever needing them. These comments deepened the divide. Charles, bound by duty and tradition, faced criticism he rarely saw in public before. Charles thought there would be enough time. He had hoped to, one day, explain his side of the story, clear up misunderstandings, and offer a chance to find peace between them. He wanted Harry to understand his role and importance within the family's future, meeting him as a father and not his king. But now, the king's worsening illness made this hope urgent. Time was running out. Every day brought new challenges to his health, and he knew he might not get another chance to reach out. That was why he entrusted this wish to his sister, so Harry knows he is serious and ready to listen. Royal insiders say that Charles spends a noticeable amount of time reflecting on old pictures when his boys were young and free. The kind of connection they had shared before was unique. While William's path was focused on duty and succession, Charles's wish with Harry was different. It was about connecting as a family, beyond the expectations of the crown. Yet, while Charles longs for that moment with his youngest son, one truth couldn't be ignored. How could it ever happen when the divide between his two boys had never been wider? Blood, but no brotherhood. Prince William and Prince Harry were once close, brothers who shared childhood memories, family traditions, and royal duties. Yet as they grew older, their royal duties began to push them apart. As crown prince, William was privy to secrets, some of which Harry needed answers to. But William took his royal title more seriously than the bond he shared with his brother. As the years went by, the brothers gradually grew distant. But it was in 2018 that things really started to fall apart after Harry married Meghan Markle. Their wedding was a happy moment that many people around the world watched. But not long after, trouble began to grow. Meghan and Harry found it hard to deal with the pressure. They often felt alone inside the royal family. Harry became very protective of Meghan. He was upset by the way the press treated her and felt that some people in the palace were unfair to her too. He wanted William to speak up and stand by them, but that did not happen. William was also going through changes. He was getting saddled with more royal responsibilities and had little time for other matters. As time went on, things got worse. Meghan and Harry's bond with the royal family became weaker. So did the bond between the brothers. Harry felt let down by William. In 2020, Harry and Meghan announced they would step back from their royal duties. True to their word, they moved to California and started to establish themselves financially. The decision shocked the royal family and broke the bond between the brothers. The brothers rarely spoke in public after that. Their relationship was described as distant and strained. Harry's decision to live abroad and speak openly about family issues made it difficult for William to reach out. Family sources say William feels a heavy burden. As the future king, he is focused on duty and legacy. He must lead a family that is sometimes divided while handling his own personal life and responsibilities. This focus has left less room for repairing his relationship with Harry. At the same time, Harry's new life in the United States involves building independent projects and causes outside the realm of royal tradition. He has made clear he wants a different path, which clashes with William's role in preserving royal heritage. The separation reflects larger challenges facing the monarchy in a changing world. Still, there is always respect and ordinance between the brothers in public, as if someone is constantly whispering in their ears, as if there is a mediator. But who could that be? The glue between the cracks. While the fight between Prince William and Prince Harry grew worse, one person kept trying to hold the family together. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, never stopped caring about what was broken. Kate Middleton is known for being calm and kind. She does not speak about private matters and stays away from drama. But inside the royal family, she has an important role. As the wife of the future king, she understands how much it means for the family to look strong. She also once had a close bond with Harry and has quietly tried to help fix the distance between the brothers. When Meghan and Harry first became a couple, the media often said Kate and Meghan did not get along. But insiders tell a different story. Kate welcomed Meghan and tried to make her feel safe and supported. She understood what it meant to join the royal family. The public pressure was high. Every step was judged, and it could be very hard to feel like you belonged. When Harry and Meghan stepped away from their royal duties and moved to another country, Kate stayed silent in public. But people close to the family say she still reached out to Harry when she could. She asked William to be more gentle. She did not expect Harry to return to royal life, but she hoped there could still be some peace between the brothers one day. During the late Queen Elizabeth's funeral and King Charles's coronation preparations, Kate's influence was subtle but present. In public, she stood beside William and welcomed Harry with politeness and respect. In private, she helped make sure things didn't get worse. She encouraged small gestures, a shared walk, a word at the reception, a handshake at the right moment. Even as Harry continued to speak out through interviews and books, Kate didn't respond. Instead, she focused on shielding her children and maintaining peace inside the palace. Her effort may not bring full reconciliation, but while William has drawn clear lines about titles, it's Kate who reminds him of the bond he once shared with his brother and the cost of letting it go completely. But what if she's already too late? Because behind palace walls, William has done something no one expected, and there might be no turning back. William's quiet revolution. In an unexpected way, William has firmly established his stance concerning his brother, Harry, and his wife, Meghan. After years of public tension and Harry's decision to step back from royal duties, William has not said much about the fact that the couple still hold titles. But following Meghan's recent address to herself as HRH, William's resolution is strong. He plans to eventually strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. This is in breach of her agreement with the late Queen Elizabeth, and even though Charles might be okay, William was reported to be enraged. William sees the royal titles as symbols of duty and responsibility. Since Harry and Meghan chose to live outside the traditional royal role and openly criticize the family, William believes they should no longer hold the privileges those titles grant. By drawing this clear line, William aims to protect the crown's reputation and ensure the monarchy's integrity. This resolution has been quietly supported by key members of the royal family, who want to avoid further public damage and confusion about the monarchy's future. At the same time, William remains focused on his own responsibilities. As future king, he is preparing to lead with a steady hand, balancing tradition with the need for change. He and his wife, Kate Middleton, aim to present a united modern royal family committed to service. Beyond family matters, William's leadership is gaining respect from many across the UK and beyond. The public sees him as a steady figure, prepared to take on the throne. Unlike past controversies, William's calm and thoughtful approach appeals to those wanting a more modern, relatable monarchy. People appreciate his focus on important causes, like mental health, the environment, and community service. His partnership with Kate Middleton also earns admiration for showing the royal family to be grounded in compassion and connection. However, opinions are mixed. Some wish William would be more forgiving toward Harry and Meghan. Others support William's clear boundaries, seeing them as necessary for the monarchy's survival. Overall, William is viewed as a king-in-waiting who understands the weight of tradition, but is ready to lead with practical, careful changes. His quiet revolution offers hope for a future where the royal family remains relevant and respected. How will King Charles's final wishes shape the future of the royal family? Do you think William and Harry can ever repair their broken bond? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.